Hey everyone, today we're talking about the new ERRA album, Silence Outlives the Earth. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in with my thoughts on a track-by-track review. First up, we have track number 1, Stelliform. This song opens up right away. There's no build-up, there's no album intro, there's no 30 seconds of silence or ambience or whatever. They just get right into things with some riffs. They keep it more on the melodic side for this one with some more low-gain guitars, some clean guitars, ambient guitars, which overall I did enjoy. Of course, with this band, you're also going to get some more technical and heavy riffs, some more busy riffs, and they also deliver on that front as well in this song. The chorus on this song is serviceable, but I do think it lacks a little bit of impact and weight, especially when you compare it to some of the choruses that follow on this album. I think they have some very, very strong vocal hooks and melodies throughout this album. And for me, this first song, it does stand out as a little bit weaker in the vocal department. Overall, I do think that this song is fine, it works, and it definitely showcases some of the things that we're going to hear throughout this album. However, as an opening track, I do feel like it is a little bit underwhelming, especially again in that vocal department with a less impactful chorus than I would have hoped for an opening track. By no means do I think this is a bad song. I definitely enjoy it, and it's not one that I skip when I'm playing the album front to back. However, I do think it is a little out of place as the album opener. Moving on to track number 2, Further Eden. Man, what a song. This is easily one of my favorites on the whole album, and is likely going to end up being one of my favorites of the whole year. I've been listening to it nonstop since it came out as a single, and I think it works just as well in the context of the album. Everything about this one lands really well for me. The riff writing especially, I feel, is very strong. It's very groovy. And I think this is a good time to mention that the production and the mix on this album does a really nice job of giving some impact and some weight to the guitars, while also still providing a lot of space in the choruses and more melodic sections for some of that ambience to come through and for the vocals to really shine. Speaking of the vocals, I think this chorus works very, very well. It's very catchy. It's unique compared to some of their other choruses on other albums. And I think it just showcases some very strong writing on all fronts. I've seen a lot of people talking about this breakdown ever since it was released as a single, and I definitely think it deserves all of the hype it's been getting. It's very unique. It incorporates the harmonics into the guitar riff that they're definitely known for at this point. They do that in a lot of their songs. And most importantly, it's very heavy. Overall, easily one of my favorite songs on the entire album. Next up, we have track number 3, Gore of Being. This one opens up with an awesome riff, and overall, I think this song does a nice job of showcasing the more technical side of this band. Through all of the technical riffs and the more busy riffs, I do like that they're able to pull things back for the chorus and leave some space for the vocals to really shine through, and I do think they accomplish that with another very catchy chorus. There's a great build-up to a breakdown towards the end of the song as well, and I really love about halfway through the breakdown when the vocals come back in. There's some really nice ambience introduced to the soundscape. There's some really cool reversed sounds introduced into the production, and I think again this really highlights the production and the mix on this album. The final chorus also has a short guitar solo that's more on the melodic side, and overall I think this song lands very well. Has definitely been on repeat for me since it released as a single. Next up we have track number 4, Black Cloud. They pull the energy back just a little bit on this one, focusing a lot more on the melodic side of things. I think they really deliver on that front. The chorus in this song sounds absolutely massive. I think it is very catchy and very impactful. They utilize a lot more clean guitars and more stripped back instrumental sections to create a nice vibe in the verses and lower intensity moments, which I think work as well. There's also a riff that I want to point out because it never comes back in this song or anywhere else on the album. I think it's one of the coolest riffs on the whole album. It's around the 2-minute mark after the second chorus. There's just this short little guitar riff. It's a little more heavy. I think it's really awesome, and I wish we got to hear more of that. Overall, this song leans a little more into the melodic side, but I think they deliver very well. And it's a nice change of pace from the previous 3 songs, which focus a little more on the heavy side of things. Track number 5, Cicada Siren, focuses on the opposite of Black Cloud, leaning much more into the heavy side of things and delivering what at this point is the heaviest song in the track list so far. The song starts out very, very chunky and heavy, and there's a really cool panning effect going side to side with the guitars that adds a lot of motion to the guitar riff. The chorus in this song is shorter and a bit more understated, but it still has some nice melody to it. Even if it doesn't stick around as long, I think it serves the song pretty well. to not detract too much from the heaviness, but still give a nice moment of lift in the song structure. One thing that I wish more bands did that ERRA does in this song is quote from other metal bands. I am 99% sure around the 1 minute mark of this song that they are directly quoting Meshuggah's Bleed. I love when bands do this in short bursts. It's something that happens in a lot of other genres like jazz and classical music, that I wish metal bands did more often. Veil of Maya is another band that does this on their most recent album. They have a direct quote from an Iron Maiden song, and I think moments like this work as a really nice callback for fans of the genre. Another influence that I hear on this song is Spirit Box, especially in some of the lead guitar work and some of that background ambience. The guitar tones and some of the melodies really reminded me of Spirit Box at certain points. Overall, another great song on this album that delivers some very heavy moments. Next up, we have track number 6, Echo Sonata. For me, this song feels like a really nice blend of elements of Gore of Being and Black Cloud. There's some very energetic and technical riffing. However, everything overall feels more on the melodic side and sounds a bit more happier. The chorus and verses again deliver some very nice vocal performances and vocal melodies, very similar to Black Cloud. However, this time there's more of an energetic background in the instrumental department to back things up. The breakdown in the middle of this song hits very hard as well, and again, I think this is another very strong song, 6 songs into the album so far. Next up, we've got track number 7, Lucid Threshold. They really just can't seem to help themselves from opening all of their songs with some absolute monster riffs. I love the ghost note picking on the guitars that they do. There's like some nice mutes in the background. And again, I gotta highlight the production on this album, really bringing those guitar riffs to the front and making sure all of those nuances are captured and presented in a way that sounds very heavy and adds to the heaviness of the song. Outside of the opening of this song, which I do really enjoy, we get another serviceable chorus, but it just doesn't land quite the same as some of the previous choruses on this album, and overall there's not a lot in this song that keeps me coming back to it. Track number 8, Spiral of Liminal Infinity, is up next. My thoughts on this song are similar to my thoughts on the previous song. I think there are some good moments overall, but not a lot that helps it stand out from previous songs on this album. There is a section in the middle that I do think is more unique, and it's this clean guitar section. I think there are some cool melodies and some cool ideas in there, but it doesn't stick around for very long, and overall this song doesn't offer a lot of new things for the listener this far into the album. Finally, we have the last 3 tracks on the album, which I'm kind of going to talk about as one full thing, because they are titled with numbers at the start of each song, 1, 2, and 3, to show that they are connected. The first song in this trilogy, The Many Names of God, starts with a very heavy riff, one of my favorites on the album, and overall this is one of the heavier songs on the entire album. This song has what I would consider the heaviest moment on the album around the 40-second mark. There's this lo-fi guitar that comes in and then just this really nice groovy riff that happens after it. This moment, every time it pops up when I'm listening through the album, is just one of my favorites. Really, this entire song never lets up on the heaviness, but I love that they're able to accomplish this while keeping the structure of the song moving forward and not staying on any one heavy riff for too long. They're constantly changing things up and getting to different sections of the song. This song transitions directly into the second part of this trilogy, In the Gut of the Wolf. This song maintains the heaviness of the first part of the trilogy, but with a more energetic and forward-moving feel, as opposed to a more slower, heavier, chunkier feel of the first song. There are some really nice electronic elements going on in the background as well that add to the energy of the song and keep it feeling like it's moving forward. There's also much more of a chorus in this song and a really nice melodic lift at the end of the song that feels very cinematic. The clean vocals at the end of the song work exceptionally well, and I really appreciate that they hold off on delivering more of a chorus type moment until the end of the second part of the trilogy. I think the whole fade out at the end works very, very well, and I love that they end the song with the lyrics being the title of the album. Now, before we get into this last song, hear me out. I really think that the album should have ended there. We get a really, really nice 2-part song that transitions directly into each other, delivers some of the heavier moments on the album with a very big cinematic ending, and lyrically ending on the title of the album. Personally, for me, I feel like that would have been the perfect way to wrap things up. Part 3 of this trilogy, Twilight and the Reflection of Dreams, to me feels very disconnected from the trilogy and feels like an underwhelming way to end the album. There's no musical connection that bridges these songs together, whereas part 1 fades directly into part 2, and they feel like they're part of the same song. Part 2 does not really transition into part 3. I feel like part 2 has a definitive ending, and part 3 has its own start, and the two feel disconnected musically. The first two parts of this trilogy also deliver some of the heaviest moments on the album, whereas part 3 is one of the more subdued songs on the album, in my opinion. The chorus on this one feels like it lacks some impact to me as well, especially in the instrumental side of things. There's no rhythm guitars to back things up until the very end, where the chorus comes back. Overall, to me, it feels slightly underwhelming to end the album on a trilogy where the third part of the trilogy feels like its own song and doesn't feel very connected to the first two parts, and it feels more underwhelming to end the entire album on this song, which I feel is one of the weaker songs in general. So that's going to wrap things up on the track-by-track portion of the review. Let's get into some of my overall thoughts, starting with the positives. Overall, I think this album delivers some of ERRA's best instrumental writing to date. There are really some standout moments on the guitar side of things with songs like Further Eden, Gore Being, Cicada Siren, and the first two parts of that final trilogy. The mix on this album as well stands out. It helps things feel very impactful while still giving some moments for things to breathe and introducing some really nice atmospheric elements. The vocal writing on this album I also think is exceptional, and I think they deliver some of their strongest, most powerful choruses and some really great vocal writing throughout the entire album. Moving on to some of my overall negatives, I do think the bookends of this album, the first and final track, are some of the weaker songs on this album. I really could have done without the final track being the closing track of the album. I think for me it really undercuts what would have been a perfect ending if they ended with In the Gut of the Wolf. There's also a slight lull towards the back half of the album with Lucid Threshold and the Spiral of Liminal Infinity being back to back and being what I would argue are some of the weaker songs on this album. As individual songs, I do think pretty much every song holds up, but again, in the context of a full listen through, I think it does open a little weak, there's a little drag in the middle, and then the final song I think ends on an underwhelming note. Even with those criticisms, I still think this is a fantastic album from ERRA and easily one of their best albums to date. I would put it up there next to the self-titled, which is my personal favorite album at this moment. If you like this album and are looking for some recommendations, I definitely have some suggestions for you. I've already mentioned Meshuggah, but if you like the more rhythmic and heavy side of ERRA, I would definitely recommend you check them out if you haven't already. I also mentioned Spiritbox at one point in this review, and I think if you like the more ambient lead guitar side of things on this album, then that's a band you should also check out. Periphery is another band I would recommend. They have a lot of very technical riff writing and a lot of layers and atmospheric elements that help make their songs feel very full. They're actually the band that led me to ERRA when I was getting into this kind of music in high school, so I would definitely recommend you check them out. That's going to wrap things up for this video. If you made it this far, please make sure to leave your top 3 favorite songs from this album in the comments below and let me know your overall thoughts. Be sure to check out the other covers and reviews on this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.